Innovia Conversation. I'm Steve Waltz.
And I'm Jeff Podolsky.
And Jeff, happy day after Pi Day.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite times of year. Today is actually the day after Pi Day, also the Ides of March, which meant, like, as a math guy, I should have been paying more attention to English class or literature, because that was Shakespeare that said, I think it was Julius Caesar, beware the Ides of March, right? And it's my twins' birthday today. Emma and Chloe turned 26, so super excited.
Happy birthday to your daughters.
And as a tie-in, my daughters once went to a professional basketball game with one Innovia employee, and you know who that employee is?
It's not Breon. It wasn't Breon, was it?
It is. It is our special guest today, Breon Jennings. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome, Breon.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me. And happy birthday to your girls, Jeff.
Oh, yeah, they never have ever listened or will acknowledge that I'm on a podcast, but I'll take that to heart and share that with them. Thank you.
What do you do for a living again, Dad?
That's it, exactly. That is it. So yeah, Steve, let's take it away. Let's find out about this Breon guy. What makes him tick?
Who is this guy?
Well, we're excited to have Breon. Breon's one of our consultants here at Innovia. And gosh, Breon, how long have you been here now?
It's going on 5 years, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been a while. You stuck with me a little bit, Steve, huh?
Well, that's great. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Well, all started in 1987. No, I'm kidding. All right, so my name is Breon Jennings. I've been a consultant here for, again, 5 years. I've been doing BC Nav in this space going on 9 years. Prior to that, I worked for the school district here, working with the after school program, helping educate kids. Big passion of mine, helping people grow and develop. So,
if I can interrupt, when you say here, where is here? Where are you?
Tampa, Florida. Yep.
Gotcha.
It's a little cold here. It's probably close to you guys, right?
Yeah, it's going to be 40 tomorrow here.
Oh, I'm so sorry. 87 right now. It's a little chilly. No, but yeah. I worked for the school district here for 8 years before, migrating over to the BC space, and been here ever since. It's been growing and moving and shaking and learning and developing.
So education to ERP.
Yeah.
You don't hear that too often. I mean, it's kind of, think about it, Breon. I mean, I know you do a lot of training courses for us, so the training piece of it. So when did you wake up and say, I want to get in the ERP world? I'm kind of curious.
And that's funny. I used to always say no one purposely chose to be in the ERP world. You just kind of fall into it. So going back, when I went to school for finance and business, and I got my MBA. And that's when I kind of fell into the ERP space, looking at business analytics and looking at how businesses process. One of the things that my school really focused on was ERP business process. So when I got there, I learned about this competitor of ours. I won't say their name. And I was like, hey, what about this Nav thing, this Microsoft Nav thing? So I actually did a project on Nav prior to even working with it. It was fun. I still have the document. I pull it out sometimes to show customers that I've been interested in it even before being a consultant. So I'm not just selling them something. So yeah, I compared these two softwares, Nav and the other one, and lo and behold, I fall backwards into the Nav space. So.
Well, that must explain why you are so good at training. I mean, I do hear some rumbling, some complaints about how you. I'm just kidding. But honestly, we get a lot of positive feedback about your trainings, and I know that you presented recently at a user group meeting. Is that right?
I did here local.
So that makes sense that from that education background that you are comfortable in that, and probably a skill maybe that some consultants in the space, lack. Being an expert in software is important, obviously, but being able to communicate in an educational way is also awesome. So we're pretty lucky to have you on the team,
Well, thanks, Jeff.
no matter
I
what
do
Steve
think,
says.
no matter what he says, I do say a lot of times that the reason that I enjoy this job is because of the teaching aspect, right? And when I was working in the school district, one thing that we had to do was learn how to break things down to the mind of a child. We make these assumptions as adults that a child doesn't understand. So you have to really, truly understand things to be able to help everyone understand and get what's going on. So it's been pretty cool. It ties into something I like to do, and it kind of mimics what I've already learned how to do since I got to college.
Well, that probably explains why I consistently need to come to you for help with my demos around account schedules and financial reports, because you've yet to break it down to the child level with me, because it's usually because I've got a tight timeline and we don't have time for that. But in terms of your experience at Innovia, working with clients, and is there anything that really stands out to you in terms of maybe like a favorite project or something like that?
Ooh, okay, so there's a project I've worked on that they have multiple plants that I got a chance to go around to different locations for them. And the reason I like that so much is because I'm such a people person. I get to keep those relationships. What we do, we work with people for a long period of time, but eventually they have to migrate to support, and I don't get a chance to work with them a lot. But with this customer, because I was going to different plants and helping them implement, I got the chance to really build relationships to the fact that I know where one of them lives and talk to them and chat with them all the time. It's pretty cool. So that's something that I really like from a project perspective, just building those relationships. On the flip side, I've seen some really cool products. I have some customers now that make some really cool things that I like to ask and pick their brains about.
Hmm. Interesting.
Have you seen the show How It's Made, Jeff?
I am not.
What? Steve, come on, save them. Have you seen
I
it
can't, I
before?
can't, I can't save you, Jeff.
Oh
I
my
can't save
gosh,
myself.
God. So this show, How It's Made, is on Discovery. I guess I'm picking out the nerd in me, but it shows how different products are made, and it breaks it down. And this job reminds me of that. I can see how things are made from a business perspective, and they show their plants and all that stuff, and it's really cool to see that. It makes me nerd out a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's something I like about working in this consulting world, even though I only occasionally impersonate a consultant, is the like different types of customers that we get to work with in the different industries. And like you said, a lot of really cool businesses that we get to work with and making cool products.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely
That
agree.
is that is kind of cool. Like the SMB channel, like we got them ranging from what, like Culver's hamburgers, Texas Pete hot sauce, to making glasses, and I mean just a whole plethora of different products and services. That is pretty cool. So Breon, I know you said you've been here 5 years. Prior to Innovia, how many years were you doing this before coming over here?
3 going on 4. I went to 2 different partners. I had a first partner that, great, learned from the ground up, and, then migrated to a place in the between, coming here to Innovia. Awesome experiences. Actually, a lot of people from the first place that I learned a lot about, this space work here at Innovia. So that's how I even got here to Innovia, just because I think we have about 5 people
Mhm.
from that first partner here, and that's how I got here and how I got stuck here. I have some good people, and we in Innovia, we able to get some good people here, so that's worth staying around for.
Nice. And so I know you talked about some of the financial ones. So with your broad background on financials and having your MBA, I mean, do you focus both on on the financial and manufacturing distribution, or do you like to stay in the financial, or what's your sweet spot, and what else do you like to do, I guess?
I like finance. That's my favorite. That's my bread and butter there. I do like to understand a little bit about warehousing. I don't touch it a lot. It's something that when we have a conversation, I can understand a little bit better. Then manufacturing just is just a big puzzle that I haven't figured out. And I've just recently got into jobs. I like jobs a lot. That's something I'm really enjoying learning and growing in.
Well, that's great because we need more consultants that are comfortable with the jobs, right? And so I don't know if you know it or not, but John Grant and Jenny Hollinsworth are doing a manufacturing 1 and 2 course in April.
All right.
So
I definitely have
well,
to jump into it because that's one that needs to be broken down as a child level for me because it just evades me. I can't get it. I don't understand why it's so difficult for me to grasp this manufacturing thing. You think it would be quick and easy, but it's so complicated so fast.
and I learned how to make a candy bar.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't know if I know Alan listens to this. Hey, Breon's going to take 2 days off of this for, for the session, but we'll make sure you sign up or you get the recording. Right, it is great because it really breaks down. Like I remember coming over here, they would start talking about bombs. I'm like, what are you talking about?
You're
Right.
ducking. You're running away a little
Yeah,
bit.
right. But yeah, really, and that's kind of cool. Like I know you do the training courses, right? And so that's I think what we try to do a little bit different at Innovia is teaching. Because not just it helps the client, but it actually when you learn more about it, and you've probably seen it firsthand. I'd love to get some examples from you, but when somebody starts learning about some functionality of software and how it works, they just seem they have better questions, right? They're learning more about the functionality. I mean, I'm sure you got a couple in mind that maybe when you started talking to them, they had some aha moments like, oh, I didn't know it could do that. I mean, do you have any stories like that you want to share?
I don't have any direct ones, but I do agree with you. I think the coolest thing is to look at someone and being in person and look at their face when they get it, right? When you see the light bulb cut on, it's like one of those things where like, oh, and they start to figure out and feel that confidence because a lot of times that's the biggest thing. It's the confidence level. It's I don't trust myself or I don't know what this is. This world seems so big and we have to make it smaller for them. We have to make it so that way. Listen, this can be big. Yes, you might feel it's big. Let's focus on this thing. Put the blinders on, focus on this thing and understand this portion of it. And you can see how things start to make the hooks in. So like when you say stuff like bombs and stuff, and people are like, what? I remember in school we taught about bombs and routings and a professor had a recipe book and he talked about the ingredients and the recipe and breaking it down to the point where let's explain this thing to you. And since then, that's how I explain stuff to kind of break it down to that level because that's when you get those aha moments. That's when you get that light bulb getting flicked and
Mhm.
cutting on, and that's helped so many people, and it helps them have that piece of them that you know what they can take and run with it. Because I think you can teach somebody something, but they just become a robot. You have to help them understand what they're doing. So when you get to the point where they understand the process, understand what they're trying to do, when they get in trouble, when the errors come, they'll figure out how to fix it because they understand it. They understand what's supposed to do. And that's what's so important about us. And I agree with you, Steve. That's why I think we're such a good partner is because I think we have a focus on teaching, not just buttons, but understanding why you're clicking that button.
Yeah, I got one more question before turning it over to Jeff. And I was talking with a person about 2 weeks ago, and is a business consultant, and said, Steve, ERP implementations, it's about 70% change management,
Oh, yes.
right? I mean, when he said it, I was like, it really kind of, like that light went on. Like, I know there's change management involved. So, I mean, you're talking with people, right? You got to get uncomfortable because you're changing. I mean, how much of that do you deal with on a daily basis?
Every day, every day. That's 70%. I might even challenge it to be even more than that every day. It's one of those things where you have to tell people, breathe. I'm right here. I'm going to help you. Let's walk through it. Why are you doing this? What'd you do in your old system? Okay, think about it. Why'd you do those buttons in your old system? Something they're comfortable with. Okay, now look at it here. We're doing the same reasons. It may look a little different. Analogy I like to do a lot of time is it's a car, right? You know how to turn a car on, whether it's with a key, whether it's a push button. In Porsches is on the left-hand side versus the right-hand side. It's still cutting the car on. You're doing the same thing. Just understand where to cut the car on and you'll be fine. So 100% agree. It's giving them the confidence, helping them calm down, not the freak out moments because those do happen. But hey, breathe. I got you. I understand what's going on. Let's figure out what you're trying to do.
Nice. I'm still focused on the Porsche part of it, Jeff.
Oh, Porsche. Did I say it wrong? I thought it was just a Porsche.
No. I meant like I want a button on the left side so I can drive a Porsche. So I still waiting for a midlife crisis, Breon, but that's a car I want to have when I do go through it. So
Oh,
sorry
that'd be
about
nice.
that. That was a great
Jeff,
explanation of it.
Jeff, which, how do you say it? Porsche or Porsche?
I would always said that it was actually like my dream car growing up as a little kid. And I just said Porsche. And I think that if I remember hearing it, like other people speak about it who are more knowledgeable than I am, I think it is Porsche, but I don't know.
I
I
got a funny
will
story for you guys too.
well lay it on us. I'm just gonna first, like in full disclosure, I already had my midlife crisis and I did buy my car. So either I'm advanced because Steve's got a couple years on me. My immaturity is like snowballed into the midlife crisis early, but it's a Mercedes SL55 AMG. So it's like a 5.5 liter, like 550 horse, like I had it tuned, and it's not because it's old. It's not, it's like a 20-year-old car, but I mean, it is an amazing piece of performance machinery. It's got all the AMG brakes, like support.
Steve, you hear this? You hear this? It's old. I got an AMG Mercedes. It's been tuned. It's 5.0 liter. Like, look at this guy. What are you talking about?
Well, but so like I think that just speaks to like the guilt I associate with my dreams. Like, so a dream car, it's like my dream is a little bit smaller in terms of dollar values. Like a Porsche would. I mean, I'm sure there's probably. I did look at some of the. I like convertibles, like retractable hardtops, and so I did look at the. I did look at some Porsches, but I couldn't get as much, bang for the buck in terms of performance. So I went.
How did we get talking about cars again? Oh, that's my fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right. This is like we're just trying to like soften the ground for Linda so she sees the inevitable about what's going on.
I'm just going right to the senior car. I'm skipping the midlife car. I'm going to go to the so.
There you go.
Well, it was like, I mean, it was all around like Breon's great example of comparison. Yeah, of comparing these two. So
Breon's going, wait a second, how did we get to this part of it?
No, I have a good
he's
story.
Going to close the loop by telling us his story, and then
So the reason why I think about the button thing is I used to do ballet while working and do other
things. What a great job! Like first year ballet.
It was fun. It was fun. I must admit, it was fun. There's a lot of stories for that. We'll save it for another podcast. But I was going to get someone's car, and I sat in it, and I'm looking for the key. There's no key. It's a push button. It's a Porsche. And I look around, I'm like, I can't figure out how to start this car. I'm literally sitting there. I'm starting to panic. I'm like, this person's going to be looking for their car. They don't know. So I go back. I'm like, listen, and this wasn't close. It was far. So I'm like, listen, I'm sorry. I can't figure out how to crank your car up. I can't figure. I'm sitting here. I don't know. It was like I felt like I was in a cockpit. It was just all these lights and everything. And he was like, it's on the left-hand side. I'm like, what? So I'll go back, and sure enough, it was right there. But I'm like, I could not figure it out. I'm like, I'm just sitting in the car. He's like, I get that a lot. Don't worry about it. But I'm sitting here literally 5 minutes freaking out. I was like, I know I'm not this stupid. I can't not figure out how to crank a car up. But opposite side.
Nice. Well, we're gonna find out how much Tim likes this part of the podcast, and we'll be edited and edited out. So I'm looking forward to hearing this one down the road. So let's
actually, I was going to say, Steve, like I received some feedback from one of our 7 listeners, and they shared that they'd like us. They thought that we could bring in more people if our the breadth of our conversation extended a little bit beyond. We stretched a little bit outside of the ERP space. So maybe, I mean, I'm not suggesting we get into like a car podcast, but I think we can have a little fun with it. In terms of I guess I was going to try to come up with some trivia question for Breon, but I feel like we've already put him through the ringer enough. In terms of kind of wrapping this up and talking about your sort of your day to day and the customers that you work with and the types of projects you work on. We touched on that a little bit, but is there in the financial world, I will tell you as a demo guy that's always like the least sort of exciting part of the software, but probably the most important. So is there anything that you are excited about in terms of changes that Microsoft has made in the last couple of releases around financials?
There's two different things that I'm really excited about. So one thing that comes up often is permissions and giving people reviewing before they send something off. So with Power Automate, it's extending that workflow, right? Because we have the workflow, but it has limitations. It can only go so far for people. But when you're talking about adding Power Automate and introducing the ability to have uh, someone ask for permission for something and it goes into your teams and you can approve it on your teams. I don't have to be in my email. So now I have it on my phone. Oh, you know what? Let me approve this. Let's see what's going on here. They can go and continue to work. That is really cool. And it hasn't been tapped as much as I want it to be. So it's really cool watching this Microsoft product starting to grow, starting to develop, starting to open up and see things happening. That's something that really makes me excited when it comes to the process of everything going on. This other part of it is Copilot. So a lot of times we get a lot of questions about how do we do this constantly, right? And Microsoft, in Microsoft fashion, they like to make changes. They like to tweak things and grow things and develop things. Well, with Copilot, you're getting with the AI world, we're going to that direction, having the ability to have this AI process where you can ask questions and it's from Microsoft. They're giving you the directions from them. So it's explicit, it's more accurate, and it helps people really understand what's going on. It's really cool. Those are two things that I'm really excited about to see them develop and grow. But I really want to push that Power Automate thing. I really think that's going to be a real big thing in the next coming releases.
Amazing. Well, that is I just recently passed 2 Power Automate or Power Platform certifications. So I'm I think in the certification world, I'm an expert, but that's just in the certification world, not the real world. So I see the potential there definitely, and we've got a couple examples in my demo environment. But you're right, like even just in the last 6 months with Microsoft introducing new triggers that make it easier, the business event trigger. So it's no longer related exactly to maybe a posting routine or something else that was a lot more limited
Rigid.
in scope.
Yeah.
Now it's like we've got some, they're really starting to expand the scope of what those tools can do. So I think you're right. It's going to take, though, consultants like you to be comfortable with it to make, give customers the confidence to understand, like, hey, this isn't so scary.
Oh yeah, I agree with you because it going again. We talk about this big world. It seems like such a big world, a blank canvas that makes people nervous. Well, it's an opportunity. It's a big opportunity for us to really take our footprint, give Microsoft feedback, and say, hey, this doesn't work well, because they're going to receive. They're trying to grow this product too, and then really understand what's going on. So I'm really excited about it. And you're talking about finance world not being as exciting. I don't know what you're talking about. You got me
Come on.
shaking. You got me excited.
You got him fired up, Jeff.
For a point of reference, like I will put like way up here from an excitement level is licensing, and then like down here is like finance, and then even below that is CRM, and that's like Steve's got a CRM. Steve has actually agreed to, at the customer conference, if we get 500 attendees. That's like a real big push. I mean, that we get 500 attendees. Steve is going to get a CRM tattoo on his bicep. So,
have you picked it out already? Has he picked it out?
It's going to be in like one of those like Gothic fonts or something, so it looks tough. Like,
so we need to push this podcast so everyone knows, if you get nothing else from this, get that you have to come to the customer conference so Steve can get a CRM tattoo. That's what we need.
Don't let Linda hear me suggest that.
I'm gonna have friends. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of friends just come to the customer conference.
That's right. We need some people in Denver. We need some people.
See, I didn't realize when Jeff said, "Hey, Steve, let's go out drinking," what his intent was, but that's another story. But yeah, Breon. So speaking of the customer conference, are you going to be presenting?
I am. I'm presenting two things. I'm presenting. The first thing is going to be about reporting. Jeff knows that's my bread and butter. And then the other thing is going to be using Copilot with bank reconciliation. So I'm really excited about both of those. With bank rec, surprisingly, there's been a lot more people having some kind of complications with it. So we're going to actually talk about why these things happen and how can we make it better with Copilot. So yeah, I'm excited about that one.
Oh, and that's great. So if you're coming to our customer conference, the agenda is actually on our website now. But when you get there, we'll have an agenda for everybody. So you can see Breon's breakout session on those two topics. And that's coming up in May. And Breon, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you on LinkedIn, are you on LinkedIn?
I am. And you can reach out to me. It's my name, Breon Jennings. I just wanted to say one thing about the Copilot bank rec session I'm going to have. If you want to be entertained, have a good time, going and come. It won't be like Jeff says and be boring. It's going to be fired up, not the finance snooze fest.
I think I'm gonna make it a point to attend because I want to get my I don't know what the saying is. I want to get my socks. I don't know, whatever it is. I'm excited because actually
knock your socks off, Jeff.
Yes,
knock your socks off.
Yes, I'm a sneaker guy, so I'm gonna be wearing socks. Yeah, so I mean, honestly, that does sound like super cool because I think some of especially in the ERP space, like the Copilot, a broad tool that Microsoft's put forward you can use it in Outlook and in Word and Excel. Some of what initially is offered in that in the Business Central space is sort of limited to like the marketing where it's like embedded in the product. The fact that it'll take pictures and create marketing text around that's all like cool, but to hear that you can leverage it in other ways already, and it's is really exciting. So yeah, I will be prepared. I'll wear 2 pairs of socks for that.
There you go. I don't want you to lose any. We have to go find them for you.
And so if we fill up Breon's room, I think Jeff should get a tattoo. That's just me.
Maybe a pie tattoo. I've thought about a pie symbol, not like an apple pie, the actual Greek letter. But
I think if we fill up, I think Breon asked the group that they can choose for you, Jeff. So,
right.
But I'm going to ask too. I want to ask it. Don't worry. If you're watching this podcast afterwards, I'm sorry to get a chance to help with the selection, but I want to ask in the middle of the class.
That sounds fair.
Nice. Well,
right.
Breon, we appreciate you taking. No, I think that's about it, Jeff. And Breon, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all. Yep. Like I said, you can reach me on LinkedIn. You can send me emails. Call me, beat me.
Don't
Kim
call
Possible. Kim Possible reference.
Go to his project manager.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I won't pick up, but you can call me. You can call me. I won't pick up, but you can call me. No, okay. Jokes aside. You reach out. More than happy to talk to you guys and help with anything I can. So.
Awesome.
And we appreciate that. And so you can if you go onto our website, Breon does some training courses on there. If you just go to the training courses, you can see actually all the other training courses that we have. And Breon, along with the other of our consultants, will be at the upcoming Innovia customer conference. That's going to be in Denver in May. So Breon, once again, thanks for being on. And Jeff, this podcast is over.
Thank you guys for having me.